All right. Thanks everybody for calling in. This is QualityEngineer.ai. We're a platform for helping quality engineers and quality management with the workflow that they have. Quality engineering, I'm sure most of you know, has become burdened with a lot of paperwork, CAPAs being one area of that. And our platform is aimed at helping quality engineers to get through that stack of paperwork and focus on the actual engineering work. We're going to demo the CAPA platform today. So let's get into it. CAPAs are one area where if you're good at it, if your team's good at it, it can give your customers a good impression, even though you're responding to a corrective action. Doing it well is an opportunity for everybody to learn. And if you're able to communicate that and show that to your customers, then you can turn a black eye into an opportunity. So what I just did here, I'm already logged in. I guess I can log in. When you log into the site, you come to your main dashboard here. From this, there are a handful of different platforms to choose from. Inside of quality is the CAPA module. So what we're going to do, and this can be initiated by a customer. A customer can go to I'll explain this later, but you can give access to a customer portal where a customer can actually initiate a CAPA request, or you can just do it through an email. If you're starting from fresh with a fresh CAPA, you come to under quality and select CAPA, and we're going to create a new one. This is the way we structured this before we get into the 8D structure of the CAPA. We've created a coaching kind of interview session to instead of going straight into the actual 8D. This asks you a handful of questions. The first one is the observation stage. What was observed and who observed it, when and where. So I have, you're going to see me copy and paste a handful of text just so I don't have to type all this in. But we're going to simulate that we had a customer complaint about dye penetrant in a weld. And so this was a customer complaint, and we'll say that it came in yesterday on first shift and the customer detected it. So what we're saying is that the customer's incoming inspection flagged 23 parts with porosity in a MIG weld. So we'll move on to the scope. One thing to note is if you click on show example or hide example, this explains what it's looking for in each of the fields, so you can have that. We'll get deeper into that in a minute. Then under the scope section, it asks you, what parts were affected and any of that kind of detail. We're going to fill that in and say that we're 23 parts and a lot size of 1,400. And this was, we'll say, confirmed reoccurring. And then continue on to impact. This is the interview stage where the system is gathering information. This was a functional failure, and the customer requested a corrective action. And if you have a financial impact, you can enter that in here. So we're going to say that it's estimated at 38K. We're going to continue on to containment, and we'll say that yes, it was contained. And I have some text for our the description of the containment. So this is where you would say, all parts were identified and moved to inspection. Our suspect units quarantined and tagged, yes to all. Is the downstream customer protected? We'll say yes. And this is where it asks you if you have a symptom, or if this is a cause or a symptom. We are going to say that we have a suspect cause. And again, this is hypothetical, but the person doing the CAPA will be filling this information out. Our suspect cause is the shielding gas flow on the robot drifted, and it allowed oxygen during the weld. And what tells you that on what evidence do you believe that this is the symptom, or this is not just a symptom? And we're going to say that, we're going to give it some detail on why we believe that this is a cause and not just a symptom. Now we go on to effectiveness criteria, and it wants to know how will you know that your CAPA worked? What's your measure of success, and what's your timeline? So we're going to give it some verbiage here, where we're talking about zero porosity findings during 90 days, and we're going to test in quality and hold a CPK value for porosity above 133. And that's over a period of 90 days. So now this completes the interview stage. So we're going to review all of the answers here, and we also give it a title. We're going to give our CAPA a title, and if you notice, it's also scored the completeness of what we've given it so far. It's only at 67 out of 100, and the reason it's low is just because we haven't done the 5Y yet. So we've got a pretty complete 8D already just based on this interview, but as soon as we fill out the 5Y, we'll be almost done. So based on our interview, we're filling out the 8Ds. Now, here is the beginning of the actual 8D. 1 second. All right. So one thing that this does, and our scoring is actually a little too critical. I'm going to back this off a little bit, because it's almost impossible to get a 25 out of 25. So right now in this scoring model, if your CAPA gets a score of 85, that's our scoring is is really rigorous, and it barely ever gives 100%. So I'm going to back that off and be a little bit more laxed on the grading, just so it's more realistic. But here, for example, let me go back. On this problem specificity, this is the problem statement right here, and it's saying that it's not 100%. Just because it doesn't have the actual date on there. So we can say it was inspected Okay, so now we even have the date and shift that it was made. It's still asking for more information. This is where our scoring model is just a little too strict. So we're going to leave that as is, and we're going to move on to containment. Now, one thing that this system does, this filled in a lot of information from our interview, but it'll let you know what is missing. So it's missing the lot isolation location, the isolation method, who identified it. all of that information is missing. And you can do a couple of things here. You can go into the coaching method, and now you can just talk to it and ask it, what information are you what information do you still need? Our goal here is for this platform to be a way to educate your quality engineers, recognizing that a lot of quality professionals out there are new in their roles and need a little assistance writing effective CAPAs or writing effective PPAPs. Our goal isn't for this platform to be a black box that just hallucinates a CAPA and gives you the entire package. Our goal is to help educate the quality engineers and professionals that will be using this site, and help, like, realistically giving your folks superpowers so you can get a CAPA done and have the corrective actions done, so that paperwork isn't the burden. Actually doing the work is the bulk of what they do. So this will step you through everything that it needs for an effective containment statement. And if you read through this, it'll step you through exactly what it's looking for. And what you can't do is just come in here and type done. If you write something like that, then it'll actually block you from moving on to the next steps. It'll let you know that it's looking for a lot more information. You can override this, but it's going to put in here that you specifically overrode this without all of the evidence in it, and it's going to leave that in the audit trail. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out complete. Here, Control C. There you go. And so now it'll review what we just typed in. That all goes away, and we'll move on to root cause. And this is where we have three different methods in here now. We have the 5Y, fishbones, and the decision tree. 5Y and fishbones is what most people are going to use. So I'll just go ahead and go into a 5Y, and you can ask the CAPA coach to suggest a hypothesis and an answer, but I'm actually we're going to edit this before. Hold on. I'm going to edit the 5Y here and put our answer in. All right. And so let me go ahead and just fill out the Y's really quick. But you can have it brainstorm by clicking on Ask Coach, and it will give you a hypothetical that you can edit before you commit. Let's see. And the fifth one. So you can imagine working through this with your team in a meeting kind of session. You would get through your 5 whys, and you can continue on. The system will let you go to 7. There's no reason we have to stop at 7. We could let it go on. And also, if you wanted to branch off, we're going to let folks branch off. Say there's multiple contributing factors under one. We'll give that option as well. But here, we're going to leave it here and click on Finalize the Chain. and you can rate your confidence level in this root cause. And since we already had something in the root cause box, it's going to ask if you want to override that with what's here. And we're going to click on overwrite and finalize. And now that we've done the 5Y, it's available to view here. Okay. And you can always edit it. You should be able to edit it. You will be able to edit it. I'm not sure what's going on there. All right, we're going to move on to corrective action. Again, this is this has specific criteria built in that it's looking for. Right now, it's saying that the actions are too vague. We wouldn't be able to advance to preventative, but let me replace this with something a bit more, with a bit more active actions in it. And also what you can do is suggest corrective actions. This is the CAPA coach here. But if you look at what it's asking, the corrective action isn't clearly coupled to the root cause. So we're going to add some of these automated corrective actions, and that clears things up for us. Specifically, it talks about mandating the process capability alerts. That's what caused this problem. And so based on that, we're going to move on to preventative. And this is where you put all of your forward-looking activity that will prevent this in the future. And you're looking sideways at other processes to see if this is an issue in other places. I have some a pre-populated one that I'm going to put in here just to clean this up a bit, and then I'll explain what this is. But it just talks about putting in alarms, moving a flow regulator, updating a control plan and a process FEMA, and revising the alarm settings. This is all the preventative activities with target dates. And so if you notice, we're able to advance to verification steps. So on to the next one. But that blocker is gone. So if you had just put or not put anything in here, then all of these blockers are present. You can't move to verification. So this step sort of ensures the integrity of the CAPA that you're creating. And if you notice, our score has improved. We're at 85% now, even though we don't have verification of effectiveness done yet. We're already at 85%. So we're going to continue to verification. And let me just go ahead and fill these out really quick. So the verification method, the verification result, and what is your closure evidence going to be? All things that your customers will be looking for. And that's it. That's once you're done with this, and on any one of these fields, you can click on Coach Me on this, and it'll explain what it's looking for and coach you through crafting an acceptable answer. And there are a handful of steps for signing off. What it's done so far, it has looked for certain criteria, and it's checked off these. If you look here, there's owner and due date, owner and due date, owner and due date. For all of these different steps, it's looking for an owner and due date in the actual steps that we populated above. We didn't add that, so we're just going to go ahead and close these manually. And one thing it's also looking for, it's looking for me to change the reviewer to someone else in the organization. The idea being, for auditing purposes, you want someone to approve this that isn't the person that originally filled it out. And it's also looking for a date for that we verified the effectiveness. So we're going to go ahead and mark these both off. Now, before I close this, everything has been saved. I'm going to go back to the top page, and you see that there's no customer assigned, and there's it's not assigned to an individual, and there's no due date. I'm going to set that now. We'll say that the due date is the 29th, and I will assign it to Pat. And inside of the CAPA is where you can select your customer. I have a customer called default customer. We'll select that. And now if you go back to this page, you'll see default customer assigned to Pat, and the due date is May 25th. What that due date does is if we start getting close to the due date, the system will email Pat, and if we get within 3 days, it starts emailing him daily that, hey, we need to close this out, we need to close this out. And it won't let this drop. It'll keep notifying Pat until it gets filled out. So there we go. And we've got everything done. Everything's acceptable and checked off. We will click on Approve CAPA. And it's saying that we're approving the CAPA even though we're the ones that wrote it. Are you really sure you want to do that? We're just going to go ahead and do that. And this becomes our audit trail, created by Dan Kraus, verified by Dan Kraus, and closed by Dan Kraus. Now, clearly that's not what an auditor is going to want to see, but we did that just for ease of showing you how the system works here today. And you have notes and activity. You can always add additional notes to your record as you're going through it. So say there's a 2-week period where you're just waiting for information. You can put in here that, you know, for the next 2 weeks, we're just waiting on parts or something along those lines. You can always leave notes and activities in the audit trail. Now, if you need to send something to your customers, you can download a PDF at any given time. And the PDF will look like this. If you include a fishbone, that's something that we didn't get into. I have a fishbone editor in here that you can work through and create Ishikawa diagrams and the decision trees, and those get downloaded as graphical fishbone diagrams. That's available as well. But this is what the 8D looks like currently. And if you have, since we have all of the content that was entered in during the interview phase and in the CAPA, if you have a specific 8D format or CAPA format from your customer, you can work creating the ability so you can just upload what your customer's looking for, upload that template, and then we will populate that template and give you the download. So that's a capability that is coming. But there we are. And once it's closed out, if a CAPA is assigned to a customer, then customers will be able to see it in a portal. I'm not expecting a lot of customers to come to their supplier's portal, but that capability exists. We have supplier portals, customer portals, and portals for inspection. So these are people who don't have paid seats on the site, but need to interact with information on the site. We've created portals for those 3 different types. And so that pretty much wraps up the CAPA demonstration. So I will give it up for questions. And anybody that has any questions, please let us know.